everybody, it's Paige Evans, and it's been about a year and 3 months since the last time I looked through my layout stack. There are now 130 layouts in this pile, and we're moving next week, so now is the perfect time to film through this stack again before I sort them away into their proper scrapbook albums. And before the layouts get put into this stack, I like to display them on the wall. So you'll see right behind me, I've got layouts clipped on the wall. I can display 15 layouts at a time before they go into this pile and get put away chronologically. And it takes me a really long time to put them away. I'd rather be scrapping. That's why I let them pile up, and I only do this about once a year. So let's look through this stack and hopefully you get inspired. Here we go. Let's dive right in. I am doing a 6-month collaboration with Joann Stores. This is the first layout that I made. I used supplies only found in Joann Stores and online, so they have my 12 by 12 Take Me Away paper pad, which is what I used to make these rolled flowers. These are my rolled flower die cuts that you can find in the Silhouette store, and then I did a lot of tone on tone and backed this large wreath with a colorful photo. This layout is super dimensional, and so it's not going to fit in a scrapbook. I'm going to frame it and put it in either Jane's room or Fox's room. Here is the other super dimensional layout, so I'll turn it on its side. You can see the flowers are very dimensional, but it's just so lovely and it was fun to make. This is using my Pick Me Up collection as well as my flower cut files. This was made for the Mood Board Girls on Instagram, also using my Pick Me Up collection, and I'm really into making layered shapes right now, so I used a punch to make all of these butterflies and stacked them together, did some hand stitching. You're going to see a lot of hand stitching throughout this pile. This layout uses my Pick Me Up collection and one of my cut files, and I stitched using a thread color that matched these painterly swatches on this pattern paper, and then I placed a photo in the center with lots of layers underneath. So here I also used my Pick Me Up collection, and I die cut one of my flower wreaths and then topped it with a whole bunch of fussy cut flowers and leaves. I received some Spellbinders metal flower dies, and so I covered a paper with washi tape and then die cut the flowers from the washi tape paper, and I do have a process video for this one if you're interested to see how it came together. This is my second layout made for Joann. So again, all of these supplies can be found in Joann Stores, including these open stock papers. And so I hand stitched through these flowers to add texture and dimension. This is a combination of Fancy Free, Take Me Away, and Oh My Heart. This was made for National Scrapbook Day on the Scrap Gals Facebook community page, and I used a paper punch to create all of these petals. This is a mix of all of my collections, current collections, and I placed them in a rainbow order. I believe I do have a process video for this one as well. This is one of the layouts I shared most recently. As I'm filming this, I shared it yesterday on Instagram. It's using my Pick Me Up collection, and I'm featuring this bend up flower background cut file. So the Silhouette cut this out, and then it only took 15 minutes to splash the watercolors, add the photo cluster and the title cluster. So not every layout takes 8 hours to make. This one, after the Silhouette Cameo did its thing, only took 15 minutes. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, and so I had a spare afternoon to scrap, and I created this layout using the Pink Paisley Sweet Freedom collection, and this is one of my star wreath cut files. So I backed the stars and embellished, and this is the world's cutest photo of Fox. He was so little. They grow up so fast. Another Fox layout. This was made for Studio Calico using their last scrapbook kit, and I was inspired by the tickets. I took them out of the package and I started placing them down to see them all, and I just loved how they looked all spread out, and so I just went from there. This was made using a Dear Lizzie collection. I just wanted to feature my butterfly cut file that you can find for free in my Happy Scrappy Place Facebook group. This was made for the Pink Paisley blog. I featured folded circles. So each of these little circles folds up into a square. I used one of my cut files to speed along the process to make everything even. Otherwise, if you were to do it by hand, they probably wouldn't be all uniform. And so having the cut file cut out the circle and then add the perforated lines made sure they were all the same size. And again, I used all of my Pink Paisley collections. I went through and found all the B-side solid colored papers and then did a couple rainbows. This layout was fun to make. It was just an experiment using mixed media. So I created these butterflies using Vicki Boutin paints and inks and water art crayons, and then layered them together. This background's got black stripes and glitter, and it was really fun to make, and I do have a process video for this layout as well. This was made for the June 2018 Hip Kit Club, and again featuring one of my cut files, and this is the Pink Fresh Studio Simple and Sweet collection mostly. I do have a process video for this one too. This was made for the summer 2018 issue of Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. I'm using the Maggie Holmes Flourish collection and again my cut files. So I created a cut file for the magazine that pierces these holes for stitching the butterflies, and then I used the same cut file but the actual butterflies and just shrunk them down 3 times to cut them from pattern paper and vellum, layered them together and placed them back into the butterflies. Alright, so now things are kind of out of order, so some of these layouts are going to be over a year old. This layout was made using the Summer Lights collection by Pink Paisley, and something I love to do is change colors of thread wherever the pattern paper changes color. So you can see I stitched green where this green paper is, blues where this blue part is, purples, etc. So I love hand stitching. It's fun and it adds so much texture. Here is a monochromatic white layout. So when it comes to monochromatic, everything is just about the texture. So you can see the modeling paste and the hand stitching on the vellum and the painted wood veneer, the sequins, the punches, the buttons, everything just creates a lovely texture. There's some doilies, a large title, even the photo is printed in black and white. I love making monochromatic pages. Here again is using the Summer Lights collection. I created these clouds using circle punches, layered them together, and then trimmed off the bottom to create these clouds. I do believe I have a process video for this layout. I wanted to feature wood veneer in a fun and unique way, and so I painted them and matched the colors to my Take Me Away collection. This is a layout made for big picture classes in my Pages series, and it was so fun to just get messy on this background. It's a combination of Take Me Away and Oh My Heart. Looks like it's mostly Oh My Heart. So you can find the process video for this one in big picture classes. This was another fun experimental layout. I actually didn't know that my machine did all of these different kinds of stitches, and so I just had fun stitching back and forth and changing the color of thread as well as the different kinds of stitches. And these are Carrie Bradford Studio stamps that I've stitched down the center. This is part of a 2-page layout, so this is a familiar spread that I like to create for classes using the positive and negative hearts and fringed papers. So this was using my Pink Paisley collection called Pick Me Up. Alright, this was made for the Scrapbooking Cards Today blog, so I used my Snowflake Dots cut file as a template to place all of the sequins, and then I stitched the sequins in place. And again, there's just a lot of texture and a lot of layers going on, so it's one of those layouts that is fun to see in real life. Wish you were here. This was made for the Mood Board Girls Instagram Hop. I created these Origami Stars using my Turn the Page collection. There is a process video for this one on my YouTube channel. And I love how, even though Turn the Page is definitely not a Christmas themed collection, I was able to pull out colors that remind me of Christmas. This was made for Carrie Bradford's studio. This cut file belongs to her, and so I backed it with pinks and purples and reds from all of my pink Paisley collections. Here I wanted to feature the 30-page sticker book. I'm going to grab one because I have it right here. 30 pages of stickers. So many stickers. And so I die cut this flower wreath that you can find in my Silhouette store, watercolored over it, and then embellished with wood veneer and a lot of the stickers. This was made when I taught at She Loves Color for Bella Boulevard last fall, and I love creating large title layouts for classes. They are easy and fun to make and always have a big impact. So here we are using my Turn the Page collection, and it says love you. Another layout for Paige's Pages. This was the last of 4 layouts that I made, and I didn't know what to do, so when I don't know what to do, I always turn to cut files. So this is one of my favorite cut files. It's these frames hanging on a banner. So I used my Turn the Page collection with a little bit of Oh My Heart and the 30-page sticker book to embellish. I finally got to use this couch die cut that I've been holding on to years. So here's Jane reading on the very same couch that this die cut was designed after. I think this was the very first layout that I made with Turn the Page, which I got in the mail right when we moved back to the United States from Germany last summer. And so when I create my first layout with collections, I always like to create a grid design and then fill it in with all the different kinds of embellishments. So from wood veneer to chipboard to the 2x2 paper pads, ribbon, puffy stickers, thickers, the sticker book, pendant paper clips, sequins, stamps. I think I got it all. Can never go wrong with a grid design as well. Keep that in mind. So I switched to a different kind of stitch this past year. It's called a chain stitch or a link stitch. I'm not exactly sure the correct thing to call it. I guess I could Google it. But I love how this stitch adds so much texture, so much dimension, and it really pops. And then on the back side, it just creates like a regular back stitch. So both sides look awesome. And this was made using one of my cut files and embellished with Turn the Page and the 30-page sticker book. All of these hearts are from the sticker book, the inner hearts. Here's another page from Paige's Pages featuring stars. I used my Turn the Page collection and fussy cut all of these stars from one of the pattern papers, and it had designs printed on the stars, and so I simply stitched over the designs with matching colors of thread. So you can find the process video for this one in my Paige's Pages series at Big Picture Classes. This was made for an Alta New blog hop. So I love these layered metal flower dies. So I die cut them from my pink Paisley pattern papers and layered them over this modeling paste background. And then these colorful stripes of paper are actually from the Thickers packaging material from Pick Me Up. So I do have a process video for this one on scrapbook.com's YouTube. That's actually what this was made for. I apologize. It's not an Alta New block hop. It's using the Alta New metal dies, but it was made for the scrapbook.com YouTube channel. There you go. This is one of the first layouts I made with my Pick Me Up collection. One of the papers has all of these moths, And so I fussy cut them out and then swooshed them across the background, stitched them in place for texture and dimension. And I believe this was featured on the Scrapbook and Cards Today blog. This one was for an all-to-new blog hop, so they sent me these layerable stamps, flower stamps. So each stamp has about seven different pieces, and so it took some time to stamp all those, and I cut them out with the coordinating metal die, and then it's got modeling paste, and I do believe I have a process video for this one. This is one of the layouts that I'm teaching at the Scrap Gals retreat in Seattle here coming up in a few weeks, using my Pick Me Up collection and creating chevrons with pattern papers. This layout is from my Paige's process class at Big Picture Classes, so I was featuring fringed balloons, and it's combining a few of my pink Paisley collections. So you can find the process video for this one in that class, as well as the template to create these balloons. This is a layout I recently shared. There is a process video to go along with it. It was made for the summer 2018 issue of Scrapbook and Cards Today, and it's featuring a rolled paper heart for our 10th anniversary. It's using my Pick Me Up collection. Here's my other guest design layout for the June 2018 Hip Kit Club, and I folded pattern papers in half to create this layered goodness, and there is a process video for this one if you want to check it out. Alright, so I made this layout a long time ago, but I didn't want to share it until Jane was out of school, you know, privacy reasons, all that jazz, but I backed one of my scalloped circle cut files with pattern papers from Pick Me Up, and then created the title along the curved lines. And it's Jane's official kindergarten photo. I taught this layout in Mexico last August, so I always love to teach how to back cut files with pattern papers. This is using Oh My Heart. Here, this is the flower ampersand cut file that I designed, and I just couldn't wait to use it, and so I spent some time die cutting all of the little pieces from different pattern papers using my Pick Me Up collection, hand stitched a border around it, and I just love flowers and ampersands, so combined, it's magical. Here's another layout from Paige's process at Big Picture Classes, and it's backing cut files. It's one of my favorite things to do, even still. And this is using my first collection with pink Paisley, so it's fancy free. This layout features my flower frame cut file. I wanted to back it with pattern papers from Pick Me Up, and then I used an entire sheet of rub-ons to fill in the empty space. There is a process video for this one, I believe. Here I'm featuring my Easter egg cut file. It's got all these different borders of flowers and hearts, and I watercolored over it, added lots of flowers, stitched on a title, so this was fun to make, getting experimental with watercolors and such. I've grabbed the rest of the stack, so let's continue on. This layout is a full 12 by 12 photo, and then I layered hearts punched from Pick Me Up pattern papers and created this funky edge using border punches. I also did some machine stitching on the background for texture. This was made for National Scrapbook Day. I asked my team members to create a layout using the cut apart vellum paper from Pick Me Up, and then I hand stitched over the sentiments. This was made for the Mood Board girls, so I die cut concentric hearts from a few of my collections and then created this border using one of my cut files to add some interest. This was made for National Scrapbook Day on scrapbook.com, and I used my Pick Me Up collection, more of the pastel colors, and had fun creating this background of watercolored rays, and then I machine stitched and then created the 3x3 grid on top using I tried to use as many of the embellishments from Pick Me Up as possible. This is the Confetti Wishes collection by Pink Paisley. One of the papers has all of these different colored stripes, and so I cut these scalloped borders from the stripes, backed them with coordinating colored pattern papers, and even machine stitched them using coordinating colors of thread. This was for National Scrapbook Day for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine on their blog. And I used Vicky Bouton paints to paint a couple backgrounds, and then I die cut these layered hearts from them, stacked them together, and stitched down the middles. Then there is a process video for this one, so you can see how to make it too. This is for Paige's process. At Big Picture classes, I love the bend up interactive elements of these kinds of layouts, and then I backed it with a colorful pattern paper so it's pretty from all angles. Another layout from Paige's process. This is featuring a cross stitch pattern, so you can find the pattern and the process video in that class. Another layout from that class. This is featuring washi tape borders. So these are all washi tape from my collections, folded over baker's twine and then stitched in place. And it's a mix of my Pink Paisley collections. This was made last summer. We went on a road trip down to Oregon, and so all of those hours spent in the car I used to do hand stitching, and I changed the color of thread every 10 stitches. And then I embellished with Turn the Page. This was made for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine, the spring issue, and I fussy cut all of these flowers from Pick Me Up and created a photo mat with them. This double page spread was made for Scrapbook and Cards Today, and it's based on a sketch, and I used Maggie Holmes' Flourish collection. Here is a layout that I scrap lifted from myself. When I'm in a rut and I need ideas, I turn to past layouts for inspiration. So I scrap lifted one of my favorite layouts that's round and used all of my Pink Paisley collections. There is a process video for this one, I believe. This was made for the Scrapbook and Cards Today blog for their birthday. So I made it birthday themed. I used my Pick Me Up collection and a cupcake punch and stitched a grid design using lots of different colors of threads and different kinds of stitches. And I know for sure there is a process video for this one. See, I have the worst memory, and this is why I scrapbook, is to help me remember things that I would otherwise forget. This was made for an alt to new blog hop, so I was sent these stencils and sprays and washi tape. So I put the washi tape rolls on cardstock, fussy cut the flowers out, and then created this really fun mixed media background, trying to get more into the mixed media scene. But it's a little intimidating, so still trying to learn. Made this layout using my Pick Me Up collection. It came together super easily because this pattern paper just has all these frames on it, so I filled in the frames with little bits and pieces from Pick Me Up and backed a few of the frames with the photos. Here I wanted to feature the Pick Me Up alphabet stamps in a fun way, so I stitched these lines and then stamped using a different color of ink for every letter. And it was a question answer Q&A with my daughter about her favorite things, because she had just turned 5 in this photo. This is from Paige's process, so it's another 12 by 12 full photo background. And then I mixed and matched all of the thickers from my collections to create this large title, and then created a punched border frame. This was for the mood board girls, so I die cut this large title and then hand stitched around it using Pick Me Up. Everything here is from Pick Me Up. Here's another 2-page spread made for Scrapbook and Cards Today, also based on a sketch and using my Pick Me Up collection. Here is the chain link stitch again, so you can see how dimensional it is and how the colors just really pop using my Pick Me Up collection. So this is one of my favorite layouts, and I don't even really know why. I think I just love the colors and the mixed and match look. So it's mostly using Turn the Page, but the thickers, there's also Oh My Heart, Take Me Away, and Fancy Free. So this layout came together quickly and easily, and those are some of my favorites to make. This is one of the first layouts I made with Turn the Page, so I fussy cut all of these flowers and then created a large title on top. Did some mixed media in the background, and I love how everything pops off of this dark background. This is a layout for Paige's Pages, so I used watercolors to stamp the butterflies, fussy cut them out, and then arranged them in rainbow order, so you can find the process video for this in Paige's Pages. Here is one of my die cuts. It's a fox, so I backed it with pattern papers, hand stitched across the grid, and then the title is Fox and Bun. It's a picture of Fox with our bunny Phoebe. This is all using Turn the Page. Here is a layout. I can't remember if this was for a class or if it was something official, but again, it's something that I've done multiple times where I've fringed paper pieces and then cut them out into a large heart shape. So this is using Oh My Heart. So this was fun. I wanted to feature the print and cut flowers that you can find on Silhouette. So these are all printed on my regular printer, and the Silhouette machine cut them out. And it's also got a bit of monochromatic, so the modeling paste background and then the white on white hand stitched flower. And I love how the colors just really pop off of the white background. This is for Paige's Pages, featuring stitching in an actual embroidery hoop, and then I turned that into a hot air balloon. So you can find the process video for this in Paige's Pages. This is made for Christmas time, so I used my Turn the Page collection to embellish, but then I cross-stitched one of my cut files to create this super textured background. This was a collaboration with Elizabeth Sarah, so she cross-stitched this design and then mailed it to me, and all I did was add a photo and a few embellishments like the title and called it good. This is one of those layouts that definitely needs to be framed. The hours and hours that went into this hand stitching that she did, it's just so beautiful. I wish you were here to be able to touch it. Here's another big picture classes, Pages layout featuring folded hexagons. So it creates a lovely dimensional and colorful background. Again, cool from all angles, because if you use double-sided pattern paper, you can see it from the front, from on top, and then from the sides as well. I think this is for a Pages class. This is older. We're getting into over a year-old layouts here and there. So yeah, my memory is failing me a little bit, but I think it's for Pages, and I splashed white and black acrylic paints across the background, did some fussy cut hearts, stitching, the works. This layout is a collaboration with Scrapbook Werkstatt. They sent me the collection that was designed with Jessica Fabiano, and I trimmed the washi tape pennants and created 3 banners. Also from Pages, so I used my Turn the Page collection to create these banners. This was, I believe I taught this layout at a class, so we hand cut these letters from one single pattern paper and then watercolored the background and did the tone-on-tone technique. For Easter time, fringed eggs using, I think, 2 or 3 collections, just 2 actually, Fancy Free and Oh My Heart. This was made for Studio Calico, again with a dimensional background, so if you punch squares and then fold them in half and only adhere half of the squares, you get these papers that bend up and create lots of texture. For Christmas time, again, I love how Turn the Page isn't Christmas themed, but there's traditional red and green in the collection, so you can use it to create Christmas pages. So this is one of my cut files that I backed with pattern papers and embellished with flowers, because you can never have enough flowers. This is using stickers from my 30-page sticker book, so I layered them onto cardstock and vellum and then fussy cut them out so they were more like die cuts. And these are all just really uplifting and encouraging sentiments, so to go along with a photo of Jane on her first day of kindergarten. So throughout this stack that I've shared, we've got her first day of kindergarten and her last day of kindergarten and her official school photo. So it's really fun to document all of her progress over the year. This is using the Wild Child collection with pink Paisley, so I backed my stars in a star cut file. Not individually though, it's just backed with a single piece of pattern paper, so that made it go by super quickly. Made it come together super quickly. And then of course I always like to add hand stitching details. Again, featuring the 30-page sticker book, so there are a lot of flowers in the sticker book, and I made them into banners and machine stitched over them. This is another of the guest design layouts with Scrapbook Werkstatt using Jessica Fabiano's collection called Aloha. So I made a grid, stitched a grid background, and then filled in all the little squares with bits and pieces from the collection. This is for Paige's pages, so I fussy cut all of these butterflies from one of the pattern papers, placed them in loop-de-loops, and machined and hand stitched over them. So there is a process video for this at Big Picture classes. This was made for Carrie Bradford's studio, again using Turn the Page for a Christmas layout. So I pulled out those reds and greens and included some mints and yellows and pinks because I love that color combination for Christmas layouts. Gosh, it's bringing so many memories back looking through all of these layouts. So here is a grid layout using Turn the Page. Done. I just want to reiterate, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. So you've seen me do these raised backgrounds, you've seen me do grid backgrounds, but by using different products and slightly different things here and there, you can create like 5 or 6 different layouts using the same techniques but in slightly different ways to get a whole new look. I have some spools of ribbon in Hobby Lobby, and so I wanted to feature those ribbon strips as well as a few pattern paper strips in the mix. Here I created a rainbow using papers from Oh My Heart and then hand stitched tone on top, did some mixed media work on the background with modeling paste and added sequins for texture, so there's a lot of dimension going on this layout. Here I watercolored over one of my flower die cuts and then backed it with pattern papers. This is using Turn the Page. This is a layout for Studio Calico. I'm always a fan of big titles, so again, you can create lots of different big titles using different collections and you'll get a different look every time. And it's sticking a little bit. Here's another layout for Studio Calico. I fussy cut some leaves as well as used the entire package of leaves to create this fun border. Another layout for Studio Calico, they provided me with this cut file, so I die cut it from a single piece of pattern paper and then did a focal element right here with the photo. This was made for a Scrapbooking Cards Today magazine. I believe it was the fall 2017 issue. This is using an Amy Tangerine collection, and I used a bow punch to create these bows. Here I layered multiple concentric ampersands and machine stitched around all the edges for texture. This is using Oh My Heart. This layout, it's 8.5 by 11. It was on the cover of the fall 2017 issue of Scrapbooking Cards Today magazine, so that was a fun accomplishment. This is using my Oh My Heart collection. Here's some more hand stitching, so I used a cut file and then hand stitched around the flowers and then filled them in with acrylic paints and embellished with my Oh My Heart collection and a little bit of Maggie Holmes. This is the Summer Lights collection by Pink Paisley, so I did a paper weaving technique and embellished. Another large title, so I hand stitched around this title and then colored it in with paints. This is also Oh My Heart. Another large title using Oh My Heart. I think I taught this layout at a class. And this is my last of the Aloha collection guest design layouts for Scrapbook Workshop. I always love placing flowers in a wreath design. This time I just split it in half and put each half on the side. Another layout for Scrapbooking Cards Today magazine. So I used one of my flower cut files and did hand stitching through each flower and leaf, and then put them all on top of a flower layout. And there's flowers in the photo, so it's flowers, flowers everywhere. On this layout, I paper pieced this heart. So all of these triangles were placed individually. This is using my Turn the Page collection and a trio of cute photos of fox. This layout isn't quite finished, it's in the mix, but I took a class from Enza for Alta Nu up here in Seattle a few months ago, and so I fussy cut all these flowers and placed them in a J for Jane, but I still haven't finished it, so I'm going to take this out of the pile and make sure to work on that. So on this layout, this is another layout that I taught, so with the flower wreath, you can't go wrong with the flower wreath design. Mixing pattern paper flowers, chipboard flowers, puffy sticker flowers to create a beautiful wreath. For Halloween, I used this pink Paisley collection and I backed one of my cut files with the pattern papers. Here I used my leaf die cuts, the dipped leaves, and created 3 rows, stitched them on, and then stamped some leaves. Die cut one of my leaf backgrounds from a Turn the Page pattern paper, and then embellished with buttons, as well as all of the stickers that you see are from my 30-page sticker book. Again, featuring the sticker book, I pulled out all of the hearts. So all of these hearts can be, as well as these stickers. And then I used Turn the Page to a Turn the Page paper for the background. This layout was made for big picture classes. This is actually a piece of wood from One Canoe 2, and so I watercolored in the flowers, and then I didn't want to cover it up, so I just created one single cluster right here with the photo and layers and made the title, this is with Take Me Away. You're almost done. This is using Turn the Page, and I fussy cut all of these stars and placed them in a whoosh for a layout for my guy. I wanted to use a dark background, so I chose black and then punched tiny squares from my collections and placed them on the background so the colors really pop off of this background. Here's another layout for Paige's Pages at big picture classes, so I used washi tape as a resist technique and then watercolored over it, lifted off the washi and then hand stitched around, as well as hand stitched this flower element, and these are all from Oh My Heart, these flowers. Here I die cut a large flower, hand stitched around it, and then created a focal point with layered flowers and a photo. This is the layout I made for Carrie Bradford's studio using Turn the Page. So I punched these raindrops or petals from the pattern papers and then backed this Carrie Bradford studio die cut with pattern papers. Here's another layout from Paige's Pages featuring layered flowers. So if you ruffle up these edges, you'll get lots of dimension. This is using Oh My Heart. And this is another layout that I taught in Mexico. So we layered the pattern paper strips across the butterfly and then created a couple clusters of embellishments. This is another layout for Carrie Bradford Studio. So this hibiscus flower design is hers. So I backed all of them with pattern papers from Oh My Heart and then created a few clusters for the title and photo and then journaling. This is the layout I taught at She Loves Color in Milwaukee for Bella Boulevard. So we created this paper pieced triangle. And this, my friends, is the last layout. It's second to last layout. It's for big picture classes featuring a hand stitched floral background and then paper piecing inside. So you can find the process video for this one in that class using Turn the Page. And here is the last layout. So this was a guest design spot for Alta Nu using their feather die and modeling paste and papers and alphabet dies. So If you made it all the way through, congratulations. I hope you found a technique or two that you're anxious to try, something to inspire you. If you have any questions about anything at all, leave a comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as possible. I guess I'll see you again in about another year or so.